there are many people who will hold you back, people who are actually planning and devising ways to deter you from being yourself, a same sex attracted person who identifies as gay or lesbian or bisexual or trans. Same sex attracted people are real people. And we live in a world which indoctrinates us with beliefs that people are heterosexual, only couples that are male and female are to date or marry. And technology is actually a great resource for LGBTQ people to utilize in modern society. The reason being is because many years we didn't have the ability to be able to view different perspectives and learn different lifestyles, and we were pretty much limited on the information that was going on in society. We only had access to television, news, or just everyday interactions with people. However, sometimes our reality and our interactions with others is not enough because it excludes us. And what I mean by that is if you have ever been around people such as your family, your friends, people who are in the church, people that you work with, there tends to be always some type of message, either overtly or covertly, showing you that heteronormativity is the way to go. In other words, being a heterosexual is ideal. It's ingrained in us, it's taught to us heavily, and we really can't escape it. It does impact us, it just depends on the person, how you are affected by heteronormative constructs, and how you decide to handle being looked at as inferior or abnormal by the majority of people. Many of us are very progressive in how we decide to live our lives. We do not believe that we should stay sheltered. We do not believe that we should oppress ourselves and suppress ourselves as same sex attracted people. However, there are many people who are same sex attracted and they feel the pressure to fit in. And most of us have experienced some form of oppression or pressure to conform to a standard which represents heterosexuality. Maybe you didn't reveal to anyone that you are gay, lesbian, or LGBTQ because you weren't quite sure how the person that you would reveal this to would respond or how they would treat you afterwards. It's a valid concern, a valid fear, and the outcome is you may just not be ready to reveal yourself because you feel like you need to be in a position where you are able to take care of yourself, or you may be working on self improvement, working on your self image, your self esteem, your self confidence. And that's completely fine because coming out is a huge choice to make. Unfortunately, same sex attracted people or LGBTQ people often have to come out in this world, because most people at a default consider everyone to be heterosexual, which is not true. And at some point, we have to make that very important decision to come out to our families and friends and whoever's in our social circle. But the first person you should come out is to yourself. And the reason why is because you must acknowledge yourself first before anyone else can acknowledge you. You have to admit to yourself that I am not heterosexual. You are a non heterosexual person, or you are a person who identifies as trans. Gender identity is very important to address and accept, just like our sexual orientation. Our sexual orientation is not to be ignored, it's not to be hidden, nor is it to be ashamed of. It's who you are. It's actually your makeup, and it allows you to be the real you and to live a life that is designed for you. And there's other people in the world who need you to be yourself, because by being ourselves, we actually make society a more functional, balanced, and healthy environment. If everyone is the same, then it becomes very static, it becomes controlled and manipulated. When everyone is the same, it is also very boring, and it doesn't make life easier. Many people think that if they are a same sex attracted person, or if they're a trans person, that if they allow themselves to be more like everyone else, their life will be easier. But actually, it's the reverse. Your life will become more complicated. And the reason why is because you have to constantly think about acting and performing in a way that is not natural for you. You are going to live a facade in order to conform. And honestly, when you are yourself, it teaches other people how to treat you, because people are attracted to genuine personalities. They're attracted to people who are confident in themselves, people who feel safe. When you're around a person who seems, very detached from themselves and others, it can cause people to feel like they need to distance themselves from that person, because that creates a lack of trust, as well as it prevents connection between human beings. We are multidimensional people. We are a body, we are a soul, and we are a spirit. And in order to be in tune with ourselves, we have to know ourselves. And knowing your sexual orientation or your gender identity is primary to you becoming a whole person. And it leads to you having healthy relationships, starting with yourself and other people. When you are actually healthy and you accept yourself, you don't allow yourself to associate with people who reject you, people who mistreat you, ridicule you, and disregard you. You are not interested in surrounding yourselves around those type of people, or going to places where these type of people commune together, such as family reunions, social events at work or in your community, or the church environment. We all know what the church environment is like. It's heavily on excluding LGBTQ people. Very controlled environment where everyone is the same. It's everyone appears to be heterosexual. And I say appears because there's a lot of people who pretend to be someone who they are not. There are many people who identify as gay, lesbian, bisexual, pansexual, queer, or transgender, but you'll never know. And the reason why is because all their life they have worked on fitting in with heteronormative standards because they think it's easier than being themselves. And unfortunately, that's a major disservice to yourself and society as a whole. Because when we keep ourselves from being ourselves, nobody really gets to learn about us. You won't have a story, or rather you won't have a true life story. Because all of us are a story. But what is the story going to say about you when the book is finished? Do you want it to say, this is me, a person who never really got to know myself? Or do you want to say, this is me, a person who lived my life authentically to the fullest? We can make that choice and we can make that decision right now. And if you are struggling with being yourself because of the pressures of fitting in, because you know you have a family who is not accepting, because you are in a work environment that is not accepting, because you have peers and friends who are not accepting, you have a church community who is not accepting, and you know these people are not accepting because you hear the way they talk about LGBTQ people. You observe how they behave around LGBTQ people, and it's very negative, it's very cold, and it's very distant. So you know enough information about how people are. But it's sad that you don't know enough information about yourself because you are keeping yourself from being yourself. I encourage you to get to know you, because when you are yourself, then other people around you actually get to be themselves. Because really, honestly, you don't know how anyone will be if you are not really being yourself. You can change people's minds and hearts just by being authentic. Even if they are prejudiced, even if they are hateful, they will see you as a person who loves yourself and who loves others and allows people to have the space to be themselves. And that will be different for them to see. That will stay on their mind. And don't worry about changing people. That's actually God's job. All we're supposed to do is make sure that we carry on in life in a way that sustains us and fulfills us. And in order to really do that, you have to be self aware. You have to be focused on living a life that you envision that you can have. You have a life that is waiting on you. Sometimes it's hard to navigate through that process, even when you know what you want. And if you need a little bit of help, if you need a little guidance, I am a certified gay life coach, and I'll be glad to help you walk through that process, because I know what it's like to be alone and to have to learn everything over because society has brainwashed you into someone who you aren't really happy with. I can be reached on my website, www.GiselleAWallace.com, and all of my contact information is here in the description box on YouTube. I look forward to hearing from you. And you can also indulge in reading my books. I have a book called She a Lesbian, Finding My Identity in Genesis. And this book will help you explore the steps that it takes to come out of the closet, to fully embrace yourself as a same sex attracted person, and to be able to present yourself to the world as you are, and to never look back, to move forward and have a beautiful life, because that's what you're supposed to have. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you would like more content such as this. I also discuss same-sex attracted relationships. And thank you for listening. Like and share my content. That way these type of messages can go out. I need your help in doing that. We are real LGBTQ people, deserve to be represented, acknowledged, and we deserve a safe space to discuss our concerns, our experiences, our real lives. Have a beautiful day.